So the shopkeeper is the main character in the book. It's me they follow. She has an intense fear of touch. It's something of a allegorical kind of like fairy tale origin story, fictionalized origin story of the bookshop. And you follow her for just only 30 days. And in those 30 days, you go on a journey with her to see if she can overcome her fear, and actually open her bookshop, like what she says, open her doors.
Why the 30-day structure? What appealed to you about that?
I have, so when you asked about like literary, like who our people are, my other literary kind of like mentor and guide, godmother, is a woman named Nomi Eve. And one of the things, Nomi runs the Drexel MFA program, and she always was so, on me and us, our whole cohort about time and about being very, very intentional about time. She says that many, especially new authors, get lost in time, and that it's where you get the most frustrated when you try to go back and like edit or fix and da 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 da. So she was like, if you can give yourself really like clear time limits, then it's easy for you to kind of like build a construct within. And so I thought about that a lot because she used to like get on us about it. And so that's where the 30 days came from. So me is also like an interesting kind of, he is the shopkeeper's first customer, who comes in before the shop is even open and has apparently already read her work and knows more about her than she knows even exists out in the world. And he's a big fan, and he wants to be able to take the last copy of a book that she holds sacred. And yeah, that's their initial meeting, and he becomes something of a love interest, something of a guide, something of a, like they have a very intense relationship over those 30 days. I said for me, at least it's like, as a person who is a writer and also a person who has a bookshop, I thought it would be so interesting to meet somebody who told you they already knew you. And that it's so disarming to meet somebody and they're like, oh, I know all about you already, and I think you're amazing. So then it's just like, oh, well, if that's the case, then this should be easy versus like, we don't have to like dance around and try to figure it out. You already said you know me, and then she tests that knowledge, and it's real. He's legit, and his appreciation for her work. And I just thought that was a very amazing meet cute, because I could see how a person who is so guarded and so afraid and could need really intense disarming, which me provides. There's a B story, I call it, throughout, which is the shopkeeper is also a part of a writers group. And she says that, she always felt like it would be awful if she was writing all this stuff and no one ever read it. So she joined the writers group at least to make sure that at least somebody was reading her writing. And I think for writers, and the book is really for book people, right? It specifically, that's the community that I think it speaks to a lot. But for writers, I think writers understand that, right? You put in an intense amount of work on the page, and it's just like, I hope somebody takes the time to like digest this, dissect it. Like this conversation, even for me, is like, this is the part that I've been waiting for the whole time, is to start having the conversations and start, understanding what people are seeing. Because I always notice how much I read into what people have written, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't notice that. I was just writing it. I was just telling my story." And so I always find that to be interesting and fun to kind of like pick it apart. But anyway, the shopkeeper is somehow, blessed with this gift of matchmaking, and not really, on purpose. And so people around her keep falling in love. And I think like, it's kind of a metaphor in a way for being a book shopkeeper, because we are also intense matchmakers, right? Like people come into the, and not always like, trying to get somebody a love match per se, but people come into the shop and we're the hub and they're like, oh, I'm looking for somebody who does this, or oh, if only I had somebody who did that. And I'm like, oh, you know who you need to talk to? So and so, they were just in here and they said they were looking for somebody just like you. And I play matchmaker all the time in the community, and I thought it would be a fun kind of play on that term matchmaker. The love triangle between Big Charlie and Little Charlie and Rose, and then like this Charlie Rose thing, which is like a really like simple little like cute thing to me. And the idea of being in a love triangle with one person who's not there, right? Like one person's dead and one person's alive. But that doesn't change the love that you have for the person just because they're no longer there, and sometimes it even intensifies it. And so I thought it was an interesting thing to play out. It's just a lot of energy shared. Um, and then Harry's is a community space, so there's a lot of people who use the space. We host a lot of, events even outside of book events. So there's like, there are it serves I hope the community in multiple ways. And so just like the sheer intensity of just the events, right? And then you have the events, and then you have like book events, and then you have authors, and then you have, all of the authors and their people who you have to like work with. And then you have like celebrity authors who then have like a whole bunch of more people. And then you have, like, and then you have the media and like any of the media who want to talk about the bookshop. And it's been a lot. It's been a lot. And then on social media, we have over 100,000 followers. So like that's a whole nother like, you know, world. So yeah, it's been a lot of interactions. And I think that, when I think about those characters, especially the characters that I really love, and I really love the writers group, right? I really love the writers group. I really love the sisters. I really love the grandparents. So she also has her family, right? Like, so you have this shopkeeper, but then you also throughout has these letters back and forth with her sister. And I'm trying not to do too many spoilers of it all, but her sister is like you get to hear the shopkeeper's voice directly, right? So most of it is narrated by this very intense narrator, but then sometimes you get to hear the shopkeeper from her own voice talk about what she's experiencing. And then you get to hear her sister talk to her back. And her sister, I think, often tries to kind of like counterbalance her, tries to like make her look at herself or her situation slightly differently. Is brutally on They're brutally honest with each other, which I think, I have sisters, and so that's a real thing, is to be brutally honest with your sisters. Um, but also you can see that they have intense love for each other. And so there's that. And then they were raised by their grandparents. And so their grandparents' love story is also really important to this story.